It's time to speak up. Well, it appears the joke's on me. It appears I have been the biggest fool alive. You see, before the last couple of days, I knew that there was a segment of MAGA who just hated, who just wanted to burn the world down and they don't care who they hurt. In the meantime, I knew there was that section, but I really thought that most of MAGA just didn't get it. I really thought they just didn't understand. They didn't understand economics because it's complicated. They hadn't studied Project 2025, so they didn't know what was coming. But I really thought when he got in there and started doing the things that hurt so many people, that they would realize and that they would, but they don't care. Y'all have been telling me this for 2 months, and I kept saying, no, we just have to explain it to them. We just have. Now, I know there are a few. And I thank you guys. You make it worth sticking with this. But over the last couple of days, I have realized that the majority of Republicans do not care how many people are hurt. And they are exactly what Palpatine said. They're the ones he was talking about when he said he could unalive someone in public and they would still vote for him. I thought they just wanted lower egg prices. I thought they were struggling in the economy and it was hard and they wanted their lives to be easier and they listened to that. And that's why they voted for him. But they don't care. They literally don't care how many other people in this world are hurt. See, the difference is I'm willing to pay more for my eggs if it means no one in my country goes hungry tonight. I am willing to pay more for my eggs if it means everybody can have an egg. But they really don't care. And I am heartbroken that so many in my country don't care. That so many won't go love their neighbor. But I want to thank those of you who are. You're the ones keeping me going. Go love your neighbor.
All right, good people. Come to think of it, I think white people voted unanimously for Donald Trump, or they voted for the Republicans just to punish the black people or to punish the black community. And I think they just wanted power in their hands, right? They just wanted to have the sense of being powerful, feeling powerful, right? It was not about the groceries or lowering the cost of living or the social welfare, or just to cut off the wastage. It was nothing nothing like that. You see, they thought that my people, the people of my color, right, will come forward crying all over the internet because the Republican government is not being just to them. But guess what? The people who are coming out to cry are white people. There is a viral video of a white man that she's crying on TikTok, and it is going viral, and black people have come out to react on it, and I like us to watch these different clips, and then I'll be back with more analysis on the same. But before that, kindly make sure that you give me a subscribe, give this video a thumbs up so that it can be pushed to many people as possible. Turn on post notifications because I post new videos every day, and I'd like you to be part of this community so that you can get to watch them every day. Let us keep the conversation going on in the comments, so leave a replay there. I'd like to talk to you. Let us get into it. I'll be back with further commentary.
Do not care how many people are hurt.
They don't care because they've never cared. The Republican Party has never really given a shit about anybody. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They never have. Since 1980. In the arrival of Ronald Reagan, the Republicans have been hell-bent on making themselves rich, making their donors rich, and screwing everyone else. This was never a secret. I've known it. I've known it since I was a kid. The policies that they want to put in place have always been about two ideas. They're not good ideas, but they're the only ideas the Republican Party has had since 1980. Tax cuts for rich people and corporations and businesses, and deregulating anything that would stop the profit margin. We've known this for decades. We kept trying to tell people. Ice Cube has a song called A Bird in the Hand off of his album Death Certificate. It is possibly, not possibly, it is probably one of my favorite Ice Cube songs. It's not that long. It's quite short. But it literally gives you the mentality and mindset of people in marginalized communities. Constantly. Black folks are too broke to be Republicans. We are. And when this level of cruelty was done to people who do not look like you, no one batted an eye. Cruelty is the point. Every ism you can think of is mixed up in it. Pain points. But the pain wasn't being felt, or it was being felt, but the most visible representation of that hurt was in marginalized communities. We were the canaries in the coal mine. We were the guinea pigs. And not only did we find out that people outside of our communities didn't care, they were okay with it. They were okay with it. People believed the idea that women were having a bunch of kids to get more welfare, because the face of that was a black face. People believed that crime was being ran rampant all throughout the inner city because the faces of it were black and brown. People believed that there were groomers and pedophiles all over the place because they put a gay face or a trans face to it. And while all of this is going on, while every wedge issue that the Republican Party threw out, because they have no good ideas, and the only two ideas they've ever had is tax cuts and deregulation, which doesn't play well in the quote-unquote heartland, doesn't play well in those real America places where the flag is waving and there's wheat and there's a little toe-head white boy, a little white kid running around. They knew it doesn't play well. But they did know that if they scare you about the inner city, if they scare you about Mexicans, if they scare you enough about these crazy drag queens and gays and trans, that you would fall for it. And then they could deregulate. Which means if you got hurt at work, you had no recourse. They crushed the unions. Crushed them. And they did all of this in front of you. There's an old saying, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And that's what happened. MAGA is the clearest, newest, and most deadly strain of this mindset. People have died under that MAGA mentality. We have a bunch of loudmouth people who are not experts on anything that have become the leading voices of MAGA. And people take them and their word as gospel. And if you will take these snake oil salesmen as gospel, you will vote against everything you know you need. They did it in front of you. They were hiding in plain sight. MAGA's a disease. The man who currently sits in the White House has no reason to be there. But this is the second time he's done it. Why? Because MAGA people voted on wedge issues while screaming economics. And they put their faith and their trust and their belief in a party that has never given a shit about them. It's the Lee Atwater speech. They made it so abstract that you're now voting against things that help you. And it's killing you. There is no reaching these people anymore. None. They have wholly bought into the lies. Drank the Kool-Aid, as it were. They now believe this bullshit is true. And it will take decades for us to clean it up, if we ever do. Our media is not telling us any of this because they want to stay next to the powerful who have horrible ideas, but it gives them access. So they're looking at their bottom line too. They have sold out. News media, print media have now become MAGA acolytes. And for what? For what? Tax cuts and deregulation. Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, and the Republican Party is about to unleash a $4.5 trillion tax cut. The only people that will benefit the most are the same people who signed up to tell you and people from the heartland that it was the gays, the blacks, and the Mexicans were the reason that you weren't getting ahead. And those tax cuts are going to destroy this country. The tariffs are going to bring a recession like you would not believe. Coupled with that tax cut, we are looking at Herbert Hoover's style Great Depression. We tried to tell y'all. We tried to tell everyone. But no one wanted to listen. MAGA is going to destroy this country. And there are going to be some people that are going to cheer for it. Because cruelty is the point.
I saw a video on this app earlier today. And I bookmarked it when I saw it. It was a video by a young black woman, but her stitches are off, her duets are off, her downloads are off. So I'm assuming she doesn't want that video shared, so I'm going to honor that. Those are clues. But she said something that's just been eating away at the back of my brain all day long. I saw it. It was one of the first videos that I saw this morning. And she was talking about, you know, what's happening in the United States of America right now and the horrific things that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and their little merry band of incels are doing to this country. And she just said not enough white people are angry yet. Not enough white people are angry yet. So that stuck with me throughout the course of the day. And, you know, but for all kinds of reasons. You know, but over the last week or so, we're starting to see more white people get angry, specifically more white people on the right who voted for Donald Trump. We're seeing farmers who are losing their farms. CNN did a whole segment where they interviewed farmers all across the country, and they're like, would you vote for Donald Trump again today, knowing what you know now? And every single one of them said no. And we're seeing white people who are getting fired from their jobs in the executive branch, and they're posting things to Twitter and they're posting things to X saying, Mr. Trump, I voted for you 3 times. Why did I get fired? You can't fire me. I'm one of the good ones. Please give me my job back. And now that Elon Musk and the House Republicans are zeroing out the budget for Medicaid, and Elon Musk is going into Social Security and Medicare, we're going to start seeing a lot more white people get angry. White people who voted for Donald Trump. The only way that any of this is going to change or stop is when white people who voted for Donald Trump in huge numbers are experiencing maximum financial pain. That's the only thing that's going to stop this, which is such a commentary on the people who voted for Donald Trump. You have biracial grandchildren, they don't give a fuck. They're still voting for Trump. Do you have school-age kids who have IEPs or after-school programs? They don't give a fuck. They're still voting for Trump. You have any Latino family members? They don't give a fuck. They're still voting for Trump. Do you have black friends or coworkers? Don't give a fuck. Still voting for Trump. Are any of your kids in the LGBTQ community? Don't give a fuck. Still voting for Trump. Is there anybody in your family who's disabled? Don't give a fuck. Still voting for Trump. Do you have aging parents who are in assisted living that's paid for in part by Medicaid or Medicare? Don't give a fuck. Still voting for Trump. Now your parents are moving back in with you. Wait, I'm going to lose my farm? I would never vote for Donald Trump again. Fuck every single one of these people. Fuck every single one of these people.
Some people look at Donald Trump and think that he's the ultimate man. He's rich. He's married to a model. He sits front row at the UFC fights, and he seems to do whatever he wants without facing any real consequences. To a certain type of guy, that makes him the ultimate role model. But let's keep it 100. This isn't what real manhood looks like. You know, a lot has been said about how MAGA is bringing back traditional masculinity. But the truth is, the version of masculinity that Trump and his circle promotes, it isn't about strength, discipline, or responsibility. It's more like how a teenage boy thinks a man should act. Loud, reckless, and obsessed with showing off. Science tells us that young men's brains aren't fully developed when it comes to impulse control and thinking long term. That's why teenage boys take more risk. They're more focused on the thrill of the moment than the consequences. And that's how Trump and many of his top guys act. Look at Pete Hegseth, Trump's defense secretary. He brags about wanting an uninhibited military, meaning he wants soldiers who don't follow rules. Just pure aggression. He doesn't believe in discipline, just destruction. That's not leadership. That's chaos. And then you got Elon Musk, a billionaire who should be focused on running his companies. But instead, he's online posting immature jokes and throwing temper tantrums when things don't go his way. These men aren't role models. They're overgrown teenagers with too much power. One of the weirdest things in MAGA culture is how they talk about Trump like he's their father. You got people at rallies chanting, "Daddy's home," like he's some strict dad coming back to punish everyone. Some people even say that Trump is going to take off his belt and set America straight. But here's the thing. Trump isn't a strong father figure. A real father takes care of his family, protects his people, and leads by example. Trump, he avoids responsibility, blames everyone for his mistakes, and constantly wants people to praise him. That's not strength. That's insecurity. Being a man is not about how much money you have, how many women you've been with, or how loudly you can talk. It's about discipline, responsibility, and self-respect. Real men don't run from their problems. They face them. They don't demand respect. They earn it. MAGA's version of masculinity is a joke. It's all about chasing power without taking responsibility. It's about acting tough while avoiding real challenges. It's about blaming others instead of becoming better. If men really want to embrace masculinity, they need to reject this childish fantasy and focus on what really matters. Building character, standing by their values, and taking care of the people who depend on them.
So one thing is clear, right? Disrespecting black people when they ask for assistance after they're being mistreated is the norm of the day by the white folks. And I'm unapologetic talking about this because you'll find that black people all over the years, they have been coming out saying that they need assistance, they need help, the government is being unjust to them. There is something known as the systemic racism has been affecting the black community, but you'll find white people throwing tantrums and phrases like "go back to Africa" or "you don't belong here." They'll just say anything to piss off the black people. And from this viral video of a white woman complaining that the Republicans don't care has caught the attention of many, including I myself. All right, for so many years, they have been always, the Republicans, they have always been interested in making themselves rich and their donors rich, and not for the common citizen. And allow me to say this: the Republicans in power, the Republicans who call the shots, they use these Republicans, the Republican supporters, of course, they just use them because they don't get anything meaningful. Because for this woman who was crying, she's someone who voted for Trump, And if you voted for Trump, I'd expect your life to be soft. You'll be living the best life ever. But why are you coming on the internet and crying? Because you are used, all right? So the Republican Party has never wanted any association with the black people. And because they thought they were poor and they have nothing to offer, they thought that black people were poor and they have nothing to offer. So why should we associate with ourselves with poor people? Of course, it was something that they didn't like associating themselves with black people, you know. So they have been cruel to black people, but it was not felt by the white people because they were not affected. How will white people feel the pain of black people yet and they are not the ones that are affected? But seeing them coming out right now crying, and I really like the way that white people, some of them, they call out these people their own and telling them the truth, telling them that you guys messed up, right? You guys made us, you made us go through all this, and it is us that brought us all these problems. The average Republican supporter or the voter was made to believe that, right? Excuse me, my flowers, I think they're trying to disturb me a little bit. No, just adjust them. Just trying to correct my workstation, you know. So as I was saying, the average Republican supporter has been made to believe that only people of African ancestry could be involved in crime. Just think of any crime, you know, right? Maybe rape, drug, violence, all right? And thinking that black, you know, I just don't get it. Why should all these bad things be thrown at my black people, the black folks? You know, it doesn't add, right? So white folks should just, I think, this is according to me, I think white people should just shut up, you know, shut up, especially the MAGA supporters. The MAGAs are just supposed to zip up their mouths because they know they were being played all along, but chose to shut up when they knew that they were played and vote for the monsters. Someone who's going to cut the federal funding on social welfare, someone who's going to give tax cuts to the billionaires and corporations, of course, but leave you to suffer. He's just someone you can trust. He's a monster, of course. Voting against things that help you doing that or being coerced into doing it in plain sight shows how much white people hate themselves. They thought that this thing is going to affect black people the most, but it just started in the red states, right? From the white people themselves. All over. Talk about Alabama, talk about Nebraska, talk about any other place, talk about the whites in NYC, you know, talk about the MAGA supporters, those people in Chicago, you know, the Latinos, you know, those people in Florida, the Arabs who voted for Trump, all of them, talk about them. These people are anti-black, you know, and they did this deliberately knowing that the people who are going to be affected first are the black people, which was not the case. Well, it didn't start with the black community, of course, but the superior white people, they're facing the music and they must dance to the tunes. The MAGA has a problem from their leader, who is constantly looking for validation, while his delusional supporters are on their knees kissing his feet, you know. So white people should take responsibility because every single thing happening is on their hands, and they were irresponsible and ignorant, and what is happening to the rest of the rest of the Americans is up to them because they brought this thing to themselves. So I don't know what's your take on this, but I'd like us to keep the conversation going on in the comments. So I'd like to ask you that you leave a reply in the comments. Like this video so it can be suggested to as many people as possible. Turn on post notification because I post videos every day, and I'd like us to keep on connecting even more. Subscribe if you've reached this point and give yourself a thumbs up. Right? It has been your boy Bemu, and I hope to see you in my next video. Peace out.